Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Hey, y'all, Outliers. This is Niiamah Ashang, and welcome to the Outliers Edge podcast, where we are having an incredible roundtable with three incredible outliers. I started out this episode with like a little like sound bit there. I'm like, I need to go find like a real song to have as a potential theme here, like bum ba dum bum bum. All right, we're starting it. It'll keep up. It'll keep growing. Pay attention. Stay tuned, as they say. All right. That all that being said, let's bring you in to get to know these outliers here today. Each of them has been invited here because they stood for something. They stand for something in the world, and I'm excited for you to get to know more about their experience because we value that more than their expertise, and we also want to get to see how they are continuing to level up in their impact and income and doing it in a way that's in integrity to themselves. So why don't we start here? We'll get to know Mercedes first, and then we'll get to know Michael. Mercedes, would you mind letting us know more about you and the game you're currently playing?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me, by the way. I'm really happy to be here. I'm Mercedes. I'm from Argentina, living in Buenos Aires. I am a marketer and a copywriter and also a ghostwriter. I think that something that is worth saying for the people listening is that, and the reason that I think I'm supposed to be here is because I shouldn't be here. I mean, I come from a country where the language is not English. I learned it on my own because my parents didn't have money to send me to take classes. And now I'm a ghostwriter for top authors. I work with amazing clients, people that I've been following for years, and now they're my clients, and I get to talk to them like with you guys. And I'm surrounded by amazing people and getting to know people that I've always admired. So yeah, and I have ADHD and recently found out I'm autistic, and I'm like, I shouldn't be here, but I'm here. And that means that whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter where you live, as long as you have it in you and you really want to go all in after your dreams, you can make it.
Mercedes, I'm so glad you started us off in that with that there. Um, I'm not supposed to be here. Um, it just hits, it resonates. It's something I tell myself regularly, and I'm glad that you chose to be here, and that you did. And I get excited to explore more of the decisions you made to make it so that you could be here. All right. So thank you so much, Mercedes. Let's go to Michael, and then we'll go to Adam.
Well, I'm Michael, and all from around so many different parts of the US, but currently Chicago as my holding point until I end up in Japan. And I'm the host of Lost Without Japan. And part of my goal in that role is to get as many people to feel like they can travel internationally and also get halfway around the world because it's amazing how many people haven't been out of their state or haven't been out of their area or don't feel like that is even something that's possible for them. So I'm really just trying to give as many resources as possible so that somebody could literally and go to one of my episodes from like more than 3 years of things, click on something and be able to, know where to stay, know where to go, know where to eat, know what they need to do to get from point A to point B and have like this moment where they're like, this is suddenly possible for me to do. And that is my, driving force kind of in what I do. And, just keeps me going.
Well, thank you, Michael. I'm glad that you're here as well. And Adam, let's get to know you. Tell us more about you and the game you're currently playing.
So the game I'm currently playing, I was running a podcast. I just stopped for a little bit. It's called Born Invisible, and there's so much to that statement, of how we how there are some ethnicities that are born invisible and some minority groups, and it's like, how are they showing up after that? How can they show up? How can they be seen? How can they be heard? So that was the element of the initial podcast. Um, what I do right now, I've been doing trauma-informed coaching, and I've been helping a lot of these groups and everyone else. So it's just a matter of creating growth and expansion and awareness in the best way possible with individuals or with groups. So that's what I've been doing right now. I'm currently in Orlando, but I love traveling. So I've been to Saudi, Poland, Jordan, Switzerland, France. I've been around. So, and I love it. And Japan is on my bucket list. So I know I'm gonna go to Michael's podcast to get some info. So
There
thank
we
you.
go. There we go. Right. We're already giving out gifts here. And allies, I recommend that you go check out each of these people's podcasts and their businesses as we go along here, because there's a lot of value that's going to be coming through. All right. So let's give ourselves a chance to play with each other. One of the first things that I like to one of the questions that comes to me often that I like is the question about like how you have had to like change the way you think about things in order to play at the level you're playing right now. Mercedes, you said I'm not supposed to be here, right? Or I shouldn't be here. I say I'm not supposed to, I shouldn't be here, and yet you are. And so there's something about the way you look at things that are different than others. And so let's start off with this. Mercedes, can you tell me about a belief that you used to have that you had to upgrade in order to upgrade yourself, in order to play at the level that you're playing right now? What's one belief that you like knew to be true that you had to actually like let go of in order to play what you play right now?
That's interesting. To let go of, I think it's more like my type of personality. I'm just whenever I can't do something, I try to be as resourceful as I can. And the reason I say I'm not supposed to be here, but I am, is because that's my mentality every time that I don't want to do something. Let's say I don't know, I don't want to go to the gym, so I'm going. I am scared to talk to this client because I admire them, so I'm going to. So I like to put myself in uncomfortable situations as much as I can, and that's why my bucket list is full of like, skydiving and things like that, because that's where you grow when you face the fears. So yeah, I try to put myself in uncomfortable situations because I know that's where the growth is. So that's why I'm here, because I take risks and I like taking risks. Probably because of the ADHD. I don't know, but it's just a matter of trying. And if it fails, it's okay. At least you tried. It would be worse not trying, I believe, because you will never know if you can make it or not.
Yeah, like when you say that, it takes me to something I call active failure versus passive failure. And active failure always is like the better one, right? It's one thing to like to fail because you went for it, and it's like, oh, that didn't work out. At least I got something from it. And the other one here, and I look, I've known this for years of like sitting down and watching on the sideline, then passively not being able to create what I wanted to create because I wasn't actually doing anything. So, it's not fully in the world of risk, but like you brought me right to that, Mercedes, and I think we're going to play with this a little bit more in just a bit. Michael, I'm going to come to you here. What about you? What's a belief that you had to let go of, or that you had to upgrade in order to play at the level you play right now?
Not to like bring things down, but my childhood was one that I had to overcome. And my father is fantastic. He is someone that I still am, count myself lucky to have today. And a lot of, I think, my positive attributes came from that. Unfortunately, my father had to work, as all fathers do, but he was gone Monday through Friday for most of my childhood. And my mom that I had was unfortunately abusive, so I had to come through where like I was ingrained into me to please other people, right? And everything that you do is to help fix somebody else or to help over, like, do something for someone else without ever really doing anything for yourself. And that was something that I struggled with and at times still do. Like that people pleasing or those things that you want to do for others. But it took me to be, yeah, I told my son, he's like I said, he's in Japan right now. And I'm so proud of him, right? Because he's 23 and in Japan, learning a language, doing all these different things. And I've told him so many different times, I'm thankful that it didn't take you to become 37 years old to realize that it's finally okay to do something for yourself. And that has been like the biggest thing for me to get to the point to where I am now, is that realization that you are just as worth just as much as anybody else. And that's been the biggest thing for me.
Michael, I appreciate you keeping it real with us here and bringing in into the space right. We're going to be able to hear a lot of the greatness that you bring, but a lot of times we see what someone looks like on the outside, and we don't know what's happening for them on the inside. So I appreciate that you're opening up like our space here, so we can really play, because that's the real part of walking this walk. Thank you, Michael. Adam, how about you? What's a belief that you either had to upgrade or let go in order to play at the level you play right now?
Um, realizing everything is a relationship. If it's money, if it's people, if it's God, if it's whatever it is, if it's even with ourselves, it's a relationship. So I just started asking the question, what does healthy look like? What does a healthy relationship with money look like? What does a healthy relationship with another individual? What does a healthy relationship with myself look like? What does a healthy relationship with adventure, with the gym, with different human beings? So just asking that question and figuring it out and seeing it evolve through time. And that's the other element. I stopped thinking in closed statements and started thinking in open questions. And that changed the way the world looks like for me today.
So I want to slow down on that last bit. I stopped thinking on closed statements and started thinking in terms of open questions, right? Like outliers. Let's hear that. Let's hear that in. And if I'm hearing you, like one of the open questions is, what does healthy look like? And it applied. You could keep applying it in different areas. Adam, I'm grateful that you brought this in, because a lot of times I'll talk to people around like owning who you are, right? And generally speaking, it's like if we're doing this work of transforming ourselves, it isn't just like when the spotlight is on. It's like, oh, at the gym, now I'm healthy, or someone's watching me and I'm making a TikTok video, like, look how healthy I am. Like I was hearing you like really allowing deep curiosity and inquiry of this question to everything, you know what does a healthy client relationship look like? What does that like, so on and so forth. And I wanted to give you a chance. Like, if there's anything else you want to expand on with that, please do. But there's something in there that is a key. I find to be a key path of transformation.
Absolutely. So I would love to expand, but whatever my expansion is my personal experience, because healthy looks different for different people.
Yep.
But from my side, so um how to think of it. Like when I first started my business, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to help people, but then I'm gonna have to ask for money. I'm like, wait, is that incongruent with who I am to show up authentically? And then I was like, wait, what does healthy look like? And it's like, well, healthy here looks like where I'm able to support them and I'm able to support myself. And because it's a business, how can I make sure that they're getting their value's worth of this space and I'm getting my value worth of all the work I'm putting in? So, and I keep on doing that in different ways. So that's why when I say, what does healthy look like? What a healthy relationship with money looked like 5 years ago is very different than what it looks like today. And then going to the gym, what a healthy gym routine looked like for me 5 years ago is very different than what it looks like today. So that question keeps opening up spaces. Instead of like, I want to be healthy, it's like, no, what does healthy look like? I want to be smart. What does smart look like? I want to have great people in my life. What do I consider, and who do I consider as a great person to be in my life?
Yeah, I love the creation in that, right? Like I feel like it puts you in the creative seat versus like watching passively and be like, well, I want to be healthy. And it's like, well, is health coming to me? Like, like what happens in that place, right? And outliers, I like as much as it like I'm putting a little bit of a laugh into it all. Like I hear you step like you being a creator of your life and being able to consistently see visions of what it is that you want. And it seems like small word choices here, but I can see how that can really give you a much more powerful stance to be active in your world. Mercedes, to your point, active failure, passive feel like to be actually in the action of creation. Mercedes, Michael, anything else you want to say on anything that that Adam brought in just now? Otherwise, I'll bring in another question.
I do. And this is something that involves all of us right now. I believe that one of the reasons you asked when you were asking about what we had to leave behind or, get rid of to get to where we are, something that really helped me is something that unites all of us. I feel like when I read the book Ikigai, that's where I realized I had to be a copywriter. And here we have Michael. He he knows the culture, and then we have Adam. And I see that I don't remember what's the name of the letters in. Oh my God, I completely lost it.
Like
The Japanese.
Hiragana, katakana, and kanji.
Yes, exactly. The kanjis right there. And I feel like that kind of unites all of us. I don't know if you're aware of the Ikigai, but that changed my life. That book was one of the books that changed my life. I'm not gonna say it's the only one, but yeah,
Yep. Well, let's do this here. Like,
relationship.
if you can remember here, what are I know the Ikigai has 4 different components of it, at least on like the highest levels, right? Would you mind reminding us what those 4 elements of Ikigai are? Because I'm sure there's outliers out here that are like, oh yeah, I remember Ikigai.
Yeah.
What is it again? What specific one
Yeah,
is
you
it?
have like the three circles. One is what you're good at, what you love doing, and what the market is looking for. And in the middle, that's your ikigai. That's which I don't remember exactly what it meant in Japanese. I don't know, Michael, if you know, or Adam, if you know, but it's pretty much what makes you happy and what you can bring to the table.
Yeah.
And that looks different to all of us.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm seeing something. I see something that says what you love, what you're good at, what you're paid for, and what the world needs. And when all that comes together, you're in your ikigai. Awesome.
And for me, it's always been like finding your purpose, because if you get lost in your day-to-day routine of just going to work or like, doing whatever your routine is, it's so easy to get lost in that and suddenly find yourself, adrift. But keeping like that purpose, that you're talking about, Mercedes, it's like it's huge because that helps continue to keep you pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, Mercedes. So you brought in something that I was like, well, they do call Outliers Edge for a reason. You talked about an appreciation for risk, yeah. And I want to bring that into our space here, right? Because there's this component of putting yourself in uncomfortable situations and choosing, like, it felt to me like you had a North Star, a compass that says like which way should I go. And one of the elements of you that helped you figure it out was like, oh, I'm afraid of doing this, or this feels risky to go do it, so I guess that's the way to go. Can you speak a bit to that here? Because I think a lot of us here, for any outlier who's in the position right now where they are sitting there and they're saying, I need to get it all right first. I need to know everything how it's going to work out first. And they're getting caught in some kind of certainty trap, or other people would think it might be perfectionism or something like that. But they're just in the place where they're like, I'm not sure if I want to take the risk right now, given here. Can you speak a little bit to your experience with it? Let's do this. Share something that went, let's do this one. Share with us a time that you took a risk and it utterly failed. Like if you fell flat on your face, and the steps that you took to overcome it. Because you're here right now. We know that you're all right. So, but share with us a time where you took one of those risks, because I think that's what's playing out in people's minds.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm trying to think. I think there was a time where I became obsessed with fitness, for all the wrong reasons. But I became so obsessed with it that I learned so much. And I really wanted to become a coach. So I started studying, I started posting online, and it just wasn't hitting. Just, nothing was happening. But I was learning. And then, of course, I failed. I was not meant to do that until I found out, hey, I can combine my passion for writing, because I had it already, and combine it with my passion for fitness and for staying healthy. And luckily, with the years, my vision changed a lot in that sense. Now I work out because I want to keep my body healthy. But that really helped. And it could have been something that failed completely, and be completely useless, but in the end, it does have a use. At least for me, it did. I think it all comes down to being creative and see, okay, I failed here, but that doesn't mean that I failed completely. That means I can maybe transform it into something else that might work for me. So I think that's one thing that helped me.
I appreciate you bringing us in here because I'm like we got this, Michael. I see you. What's going on for you?
Just for me, I don't know that it's, I would say, like one failure, but it's almost like that outlook of things of where it's like a continuous, like nonstop group of failures where it's like you're trying, for me at least, to continue to keep on pushing and improving and trying to offer more to others, right? And you're like with my podcast, for example, as far as like what I'm doing, there's been like many failures, and I continue to have stuff that like I do or I try that doesn't work out. But at the end of the day, I think just that continues to make you offer more and push yourself to do more, because the people that you meet, like while you're doing these interviews, and the contacts that you make for the people that you come across end up becoming like a support group for you, and you're surrounded by people that are like you, like Mercedes said, like, with all of us having something in connection for this, and suddenly through all those failures you have a support group of people that are doing, because it's so easy to surround yourself by people that are great people, don't get me wrong, but they're not taking any step forward in their life. They're just constantly complaining about what's happening, and getting yourself out of that, like, situation, and then realizing you have to keep on surrounding yourself with better and better people that are kind of taking those steps forward to you. Like, that's been my biggest, like, aha moment of, like, the more people that I've come across because of what I've done, that we continue to support each other, it just keeps going and building, and there's so much momentum that falls behind that, and suddenly things that you thought were just a chance are now like set in stone. Like, I know that in 9 to 11 years I'm going to be living in Japan. I'm going to have all these people, all these contacts, all these different things that I've had from that time. And it's just like you said, sorry, like for rambling for a moment, but it's just that taking those failures and just continuing to not let them stop you and just keep on rolling forward with it.
I appreciate you, Adam. I feel like you got something for us.
Um, I always smile when I hear failure because people think failure is opposite to success. Failure is part of success, and without failure, you do not succeed. So I always smile when people are like I failed in this. Like, okay, cool. What did you learn?
As you say that, Adam, it's like there's two things. One, there's like a brief pause, and Adam, you're really good with space. So I want to just really acknowledge you on that. Like you're good at like leaving and creating space. There's a brief pause here, and if you're listening to this, you may not have noticed it, but everyone here like all nodded and was just like in like acknowledgement, almost like giving reverence and honor to like, yeah, no, failure is definitely a part of the success game. You know. I had heard something that said like if we see failure and we think you have to run in the opposite direction, but it's like I know for me, like if I'm talking to someone and they are bringing up the failures they're having, I'm like, oh, okay, we're actually kindred spirits because you're in the game, you're on the path. You don't fail otherwise. Um, Interesting. All right, now let's bring ourselves into the uncomfortable part of it all. Right. Um, I love for each of us. Like I want to look at our edge. So when I think about like the edge here, when I think about Outliers Edge, I look at it from three levels. One of them is like, what's the edge of your greatness? The next one is what's the edge? Like, what's your competitive edge? What's the thing that you do that few other people do? Or that what's the thing that gives you like the highest returns on your investment? Right. And then the third one is around the edge of like what puts you on your edge, like what makes you uncomfortable, where are you at. Let's go with that latter part here, and you can feel free to put in any of your greatness or any of the things that you do that's gonna give you an advantage as well. But let's look at like your edge right now. It's a good opportunity also for Outliers to get a chance to see like what you're building in your world, how you're going about things. But what's a project that you're taking on, or a goal, a milestone that scares you right now, that you're taking on, something that like is not yet done, It's like it's easier for us to talk about the times when, like, I went skydiving before. I'm like, I don't know if I'll do it again anytime soon, but like, actually I probably will, but just not soon. Um, it's easier to talk about those things now, but I'm curious about what's happening for us in real time. Does anyone have anything in here where they want to talk about a project right now or a milestone that they're going for that like gives them sweaty palms, or that they're excited for, but they're like, I don't know how it works out. And then share some of the challenges you're trying to overcome, and just let's just bring it into our space here, because I think outliers are gonna just really resonate with being like knowing that there are others out there that are still creating. Mercedes, does anyone have anything? Mercedes, I saw you nodding. That's why I came to you. You want to bring it in?
Yeah, for sure. I was about, I was actually doing it before our call. I'm working on my website. I'm changing my whole agency website, and I'm going full solo again with my business. And I'm a marketing specialist, and one of my specialties is CRO, which is conversion rate optimization. It's pretty much trying to improve the website for conversions, right? And then the copywriting, and it is so hard to do it for yourself. It's very different. When you do what you do for your clients, it's different when you do it for yourself, because you become too judgmental. It's like, no, this has to be better. It's my website. So yeah, I think my battle right there, I was just facing it a few minutes ago. And something you were asking that I think it's interesting, it's what's our edge? And I feel that for me is just something that some people could see it as a disability, but for me that's my edge, and that's the ADHD, and recently now it makes a lot of sense that the autism. The thing with neurodivergence is that you become obsessed with different topics to the point where you breathe the topic, you live and breathe, you dream with that. And throughout my life, I've become obsessed with different topics. The first one was languages, English, the language I work with, not my native language. Then it was fitness. Then the reason why I realized I couldn't be consistent at the gym was because I didn't have enough discipline. And that was when I was like, okay, I need to learn how to trick my mind into doing this. So how do I do it? Okay, that was psychology, neuroscience. So I was hungry for those books and those podcasts and those talks and the tech talks and the papers and the peer review studies, everything. And then I realized, hey, I like psychology. Oh, look at this. It's called marketing. Okay, copywriting. I always liked writing. When I was a child, I'm an only child, and my form of just having fun was just writing stories and reading. So that, um, skill stacking that I have is just makes me unique in my field. So I can write copy for coaches, for like fitness coaches, but they are also very much into mindset. And I know the studies and I know what to say, and I don't need, of course, you can research, but I know where to go and find that information because it's all here, because I was obsessed with that. And then business, and it keeps, stacking one on top of the other. And I think that's something that I would say it's my edge, like you said. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this in. I like, even just so you know, I haven't asked people about their edge in the past, and now I'm like, I need to ask this more often. Definitely need to keep asking this question here. You know, let's go. Who else has something that they want to respond to when it comes to this?
I'll go ahead and jump on this one. For me, it's I've had my podcast for more than 3 years, right? And I've kept to a every other week schedule. And during that time, I've continued to try to like upgrade what you're doing and try to offer more. But recently, I've been trying to branch from just being a podcast only focused show, because part of what I want to do is to reach as many people as I can. I've started introducing video into my interviews and with myself and with my day trips, and trying to offer like pictures of where people are going. So that's like makes me super uncomfortable because I had the audio down, right? Like, I had my audio down. I knew what I was doing. I had my podcast that's pretty consistent with this, but like stepping out into that other area is definitely something that has made me uncomfortable. But it that driving force of just like I do want to reach as many people as I can because I went with Fulbright back in like 2007 with a bunch. There was 100 teachers that went. We went for a month, and the Japanese government paid for all of us to be there for that month we were there, and we got to travel all around. And at the end of that, they were just like, "Hey, Mike, everyone was here. The only thing we ask is, please, just share Japan with people that you come across. That's what we ask." And it's something I've really taken to heart since that time. And even though I feel that I've paid back like what they did for me, it's still something that I really truly want to try to reach as many people as I can with that. And as Mercedes said, it is one of those things like when you're hyper focused on something because of the superpowers that we have, that can be definitely a good thing in your world as well.
I can feel you like on a mission, Like I feel like there's more to you than just like, oh, Japan's pretty nice. You're like, no, I was given a charge, and I've been living into that for the last 17 years. And now like you're still very committed. Awesome. Adam, anything shows up for you on this one?
Oh no, challenges. Those are the salt and pepper of like the spices of life. I actually have been working on an application and I have a business partner, and right now we are a little bit at odds, and um, because the initial vision we both had, I still have. His has skewed a little bit because of different influences, and it's been a challenge because if we don't come back to the same vision, if we don't come back into that same space, it's really, really killing everything we're doing right now. And the element of this application, I don't want to use the word legacy because it's not for me. It's the idea of this application is bigger than everybody, and the story it tells and the people I want it. I say I, but the truth is the concept of healthy, because it means something different to so many people. That's how can we reach people, and how can we remind them that it's their choice to what healthy looks like, and it's their choice to how they want to show up to that. So it's starting out as a meditation application, but it's starting out with we're using the science of meditation. Well, we're using the knowledge of meditation with the neuroscience and the science of sound and brain and putting it all together in this application. And we've done a beautiful job up until this point. Unfortunately, branding, as much as both me and him have a background in marketing, because before I did trauma informed, I did do marketing. As much as we did that, like you said, when you do it for yourself, Mercedes, it's like, why do we why can't we do it? So it is a constant struggle. And this is where like the element of he's seeing the weak spot somewhere, I'm seeing the weak spot in another place, and we're still really working out the rough edges there, because if we can't work it out, this application is not going to see the light of day.
So I really appreciate it. I appreciate this component of one, like you brought it, like you're working through this with a partner now, right? So now you have two visions. The visions were aligned. You got to a certain point, and now you're in like, how do we bring it out into the world and the marketing of it all? The visions are going out of alignment, and you're navigating this. And this is something here, like Adam, like we've been in conversation here for about the last hour here. I get that you're really good at giving room for people to like express and to have all these things in here. And at the same time, it's like, yeah, I think of it like our families, like where it's like out in the world, like everything makes sense. But once you get into like a familial relationship with someone, it's like quantum physics. And all of a sudden like up is left, like things just don't make sense. And I appreciate you bringing this in here because it shows shows a couple different things. Like one of them just being like how relationship like lie, right? And being in the power of your vision. And what would you say, Adam, is like one of the bigger things that you would love like outliers should like take from that, or even to like take to consider as they're building their things?
So when you're building your things, consider failure. And then here, like I said, as much as we're not in alignment, the element is we will come into alignment, but it's not going to be nice and smooth. We will have friction. And like Mercedes says, like Michael said, being comfortable with an uncomfortable situation is very important to get there. So, and yeah, just sticking with the discomfort of failure or the discomfort of disagreement or the discomfort of whatever it is, because Lord of the Rings said it, Tom Hanks said it, I'll say it, this too shall pass.
Yes, and Adam has said it. Talk about things passing. I can't believe that the passing of time is happening in this way here. We're going to start wrapping up this conversation. Just know that I'm appreciative of you. One of the things that I like when the people I like to hang out with, I think about like who are my peers, and I like to use that word very deliberately. Right. Because I have a lot of friends, I have a lot of people, colleagues, I have people who like are in the same industry as me, but like peers, like I look through my outliers, I'm like, who are them? And I really feel like this is the conversation amongst peers. We're all doing our own thing. We're doing very different things, you know, and I really enjoy that. Like this is part of why I build outliers as the way that I do. Um, at the same time, I get that that we are all peers in our journeys and in our growth from here. And so, outliers, for any of you that's listening, I would love for you to take this time right now to share this conversation with one of your peers. So one of your peers that you feel would really benefit if they were a part of the conversation, because ultimately we are having this conversation all together. And I ask that you share it with one person. Part there's like this big underlying experiment here of like, what if we just grew this one person at a time, one meaningful conversation at a time, right? Feel free. You can share it on your socials. You can do all that. But I just feel like if we just leave the seed here for each person to be able to share this episode with one other person that really mattered to them, or in this case, is a peer of yours, I've been feeling some really good things are going to come from it. All right. Um, let's do this here. We're going to wrap up. And the way that I wrap up conversations is that I want people to get a chance to know how they can continue down the journey with you. And as you're sharing that with us, I'd like for you to also share with us an insight that you got from this conversation. How are you leaving this conversation differently? What are you taking away from this conversation? And you can say, you know what? I'm not taking anything away from here. And that's very, very okay. All right. That's very okay. So why don't we go? We'll go with Mercedes, Michael, and Adam. I think that was our original order to start things out. So we'll close out that way this time around. Sometimes I reverse it. But Mercedes, why don't you start us off? How can we stay in your world? How can we go deeper in your world? And what's an insight you got from today's conversation?
Thank you. Well, for you could, if you want to connect with me, you can follow me on socials at Mechi Mansilla. I'm gonna send you the link. I have a podcast, the Acta Number podcast, if you want to listen to other outliers too.
Can you say that? Can you say
And
that the podcast name one more time?
Acta non verba. Um, and something that I'm taking away from here, I think Adam said it. Sorry, my memory is terrible, but I think you said it. The relationship, like everything is a relationship. Was it you? I'm taking that with me. And the reason why I'm taking that with me is because today we jumped in, we don't know each other, but everything is related. Everything. I made so many connections here that for me, the trip that I started planning with my friend to go to Japan. Here's Michael. Then the other things we were talking about before. It's just, and it's crazy how we all have, like you said, we all have different, you know, businesses, lives, projects that we're working on, but at the same time, everything is connected, and it all comes down to the relationships and also what you said, Niiamah, the relationships and the peers, finding your peers, finding people you can resonate with and you can grow with. And they don't have to be just like you, they don't have to be on the same path. No, they can be ahead of you. They can be at the same pace. They can be a bit behind, but they have a vision and they know where they're going to. So I'm taking that with me today. Thank you.
You, Mercedes. I hear people often talk about, I'm looking for like-minded. I'm like, sounds kind of boring to me. I'll take different-minded, but like-hearted. And I feel like our hearts are aligned. So thank you for that. All right, Michael, let us know about how we can dive into your world and an insight you got.
Lost Without Japan on Instagram, or just email me directly at lostwithoutjapan@gmail.com. One of the links I gave you is to like a travel doc that I have. It's a bunch of episodes, a bunch of day trips and things like that. Even if you don't reach out to me, even if you don't listen to anything, take advantage of that at the end of the day. And the one thing I've taken away from this is just how much I want to have like all of you on my show, just so that we can continue like a conversation and like build up with what we've been doing already here. Because just the energy that I've taken from this, like you all don't know how much I needed this today. And just to answer, like you said, Niiamah, a random email, from somebody and an invitation to come on, being able to be with the four of us together really did energize. And sometimes things in life happen when you need them, and today was that for me. So thank you all.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for trusting us. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for being here fully. Adam, how about you?
So right now the best way to contact me is through my email Born Invisible, as things are unfolding. What I'm taking from here is different minds, like-hearted. It's absolutely fascinating how much we are connected as much as we are different. And I love the conversation. Thank you, Niiamah, for creating the space for that. It is awesome. And the element I'm taking is a question is emerging. I don't know what it is, but a question is emerging about the next phase of my life because of this conversation, and I appreciate that.
Just my that took my breath away for a bit here. Thank you, Adam. Thank you for bringing that in here. Thank you all. Y'all have played the outlier game, and I'm glad that we are, as we look at the data sets that we're all in here, like know that we're just not as alone as we think. you know we just might be further apart, but like we're just not alone. uh Outliers, here goes. I'll leave you with this here as we end for today. Until the next time we talk, be you on purpose. Journey on.